for years. If you wanted a cheap MacBook, you had to buy a 3-year-old model or find something used on eBay. But today, we're looking at this, the MacBook Neo. It's Apple's first real attempt at a budget laptop in the modern era, starting at just $599. Now, when I first heard the price, I was skeptical. I thought Apple was going to give us a plastic body or a screen from 2015. But after using this thing as my primary machine for the last week, I've realized that the Neo isn't just a cheap Mac. It's actually the most interesting computer Apple has released in years because it forces us to ask, how much Pro do you actually need? Today, we're skipping the benchmarks and the boring charts. I want to talk about the actual user experience. What it's like to live with a laptop that uses an iPhone chip, and where Apple actually cut the corners to hit that price point. The first thing you notice when you pick up the Neo is the color. Apple finally moved away from professional gray and gave us these vibrant finishes: silver, blush, citrus, and indigo. I've been using the indigo model, and honestly, the color-matched keyboard is a vibe. It feels fun in a way the MacBook Pro just doesn't. The build quality is classic Apple. It's a solid, recycled aluminum chassis that weighs only 2.7 pounds. It's incredibly light. If you're a student or someone who works in coffee shops, this is the perfect throw in your bag laptop. But here's the first Neo quirk: the keyboard. It's not backlit. If you're used to working in a dark room, you're going to notice that immediately. Also, the trackpad isn't Force Touch. It's a physical diving board mechanism that actually clicks. It's a bit of a throwback, but honestly, it feels tactile and responsive. It doesn't feel cheap. It just feels different. Now, let's talk about the screen. It's a 13-inch liquid retina display at 500 nits. It's just as bright as the MacBook Air, but here is the catch most people aren't mentioning. It uses the sRGB color gamut, not the wider P3 gamut found on the Pro models. If you are a professional colorist, you'll care. But for the rest of us, watching Netflix or scrolling through Chrome, you won't notice. In fact, compared to any other $600 Windows laptop, this screen is in a completely different league. It's sharp, it's vibrant, and most importantly, there is no notch. Apple managed to fit a 1080p camera in the top bezel without cutting into the display. It looks clean, and the video call quality is surprisingly good for a budget machine. This is where things get controversial. The Neo doesn't have an M-series chip. It's running the 18 Pro, the same silicon found in the iPhone 16 Pro. When I first heard that, I was worried about multitasking. But here is the reality of the user experience: browsing with 20 tabs open, editing 4K video in MOV, and running basic AI tools like Chat or Apple Intelligence. It handles all of it without breaking a sweat. It's fanless, so it stays completely silent. And because it's a mobile-first chip, the efficiency is insane. However, the base model comes with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. And the SSD is a bit slower than what's in the Air. If you try to open a massive 2GB Photoshop file, you'll feel a slight hesitation. But for writing scripts, doing homework, or managing a business, you would never know there's a phone chip inside. Battery life is where this laptop wins. Apple claims 16 hours, but in my real-world testing, streaming video and working on Google Docs, I was getting a solid 11 to 13 hours. That is leave your charger at home territory. Speaking of charging, you have two USB-C ports, but be careful, only one of them is USB 3 speeds. The other is USB 2, mostly meant for charging. It's a classic Apple limitation, but again, for the target user, it's manageable. One thing I really missed: Touch ID. On the base $599 model, there's no fingerprint sensor. You have to type in your password like it's 2012. If you want Touch ID, you have to step up to the $699 model, which also gives you more storage. It's a clever bit of upselling from Apple, and honestly, if you can afford the extra $100, the 512GB model is the one to get. So, is the MacBook Neo a real MacBook? Absolutely. It's not for the power users. It's not for the people waiting for the MacBook Ultra. This is for the person who wants a reliable, beautiful, and fast computer that just works. It's for the student on a budget, the writer on the go, or the person who just needs a secondary machine for the couch. Apple stripped away the nice-to-haves, the backlit keys, the MagSafe charging, the high-end ports, and they focused on the things that actually matter for a daily driver: the battery, the screen, and the build quality. At $599, it's not just a good Mac, it's the best laptop in its price bracket. Period. If you're thinking about picking one up, let me know which color you're eyeing in the comments. And if this review helped you out, hit that like button and subscribe.